Hi there, and today I'm going to be giving you the walkthrough of the TX-NR5009, our flagship receiver. I'm also going to actually show you what goes on inside one of our receivers. So what I've done here is I've taken the lid off and I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the components inside. The receiver is split into three main areas: the power supply, the amplification, and all of the digital processing. The first thing we're going to take a look at is the massive toroidal power supply that's sitting right here at the front. That delivers power to the amplification stage just behind the heatsink, and it also feeds a smaller power supply for the video processing, and then there's another transformer purely to feed the preamp on the audio processing. So now let's take a look at the amplification side of this massive AVR. As you can see, the heatsink that runs full width internally inside the AVR. Bolted directly to this heatsink are the actual transistors, and then as you can see my finger running up, here are the individual mono amplifier cards. So there are 9 of these channels which are bolted directly to the heatsink, which provide all of the power to all of your speakers. Now, to make sure that the power that gets to the transistors and the amplifier cards are nice and clean, we've got 2 audiophile grade capacitors. Another point to note is the huge copper bus bar that helps ground all of the relevant circuits to make sure that we've got no extra noise that's generated on the circuit. Another point to note is the thermal protection that we actually have. As you can see, the 2 black wires running to the white connector blocks in the middle of the image onto the back of a transistor. These actually monitor the temperature of the transistors, and at a specified limit will actually engage the thermal fans which are located underneath the transformers. And here are the air intakes for the fans, which, as I mentioned previously, are located directly underneath the main box transformers inside. So it allows for a nice uninterrupted airflow onto the heatsink to cool the transistors if you're lucky enough to be able to run your amplifier loud enough to actually produce that amount of heat. But very, very safe and completely controlled. Now, moving on to the actual back panel of the 5009, here we've got the 4mm binding posts, center channel, surround left, front high, front wide, surround back, front left, front right, surround back right, front wide right, front high right, and surround right. And what I'm going to do now is actually show you how to remove the black inserts so you can use your banana plugs. The easiest way to actually remove the blanking plugs for the binding posts is to actually use a wood screw to remove the plastic plug. And it's just a matter of putting the screw in, half a turn, and then gently pull out. And then the plug will come out of the socket, which will leave you the space to place your 4mm banana plug straight in. And there you go, job done. And you can do this for every single binding post on the whole of the back of the AVR. So there's no need to use bare wire, you can banana plug every connection. Now I'm going to cover the rest of the other connections. There's a USB and Ethernet connection on the back, which allows for mass storage music. There's 7 HDMI inputs across the top, 2 HDMI outputs, but only the main output supports ARC, and there's also a VGA PC in and power outlet. There's 6 digital inputs, 3 coaxial and 3 optical. Also are Onkyo's RI remote control, a universal port, IR in, and zone 2 and zone 3 12V triggers. We have a separated phono and CD inputs. There's also a fitted ground pin for the turntable. A bank of analog inputs which are tied to the labels. We also have a multi-channel input for any legacy products, and we also have pre-outs if you want to add additional power amplifiers. And as you can see on the screen, the 2 subwoofer outputs. We have a zone 2 video and analog, and also a zone 3 connection, FM and AM antenna, and we have 3 component video ins which are all assignable, and a component video monitor out. Please be aware though that the component monitor out doesn't have any scaling involved. And lastly, composite in and S-video in. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you soon. Many thanks, bye bye.